Hello, everybody. I didn't know the show was starting. Welcome to the Early Edge. My name is Sia Nejad, otherwise known as the Counselor of Cash, and we've got a great show for you today. Before we get there, though, let's take a look at the recap screen. Not bad. 5-3. I finally hit a first five after going 0 for my first three. SportsLine picks don't work out. We had that Mike McClure Caps Hurricanes under, which was pretty much sweat-free 0-0 after one. Larry Hartstein hits his pick on Naz Reid very easily. 5-3 is a good day. Certainly not a great day, but we win some money for you. Let's go ahead and bring in the stars of the show so we can win maybe some more money for you. Listen, this Early Edge show, it's brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. We have to get one person out of here right away because he's got a flight to catch. And I got to be honest with you, he's already late. Buckets, you're that guy. You've got a soccer pick. Normally, I'd introduce Snyper. I'd introduce Amags. I'd introduce Propstarz. I'd talk about a couple of things that just dropped this morning in the NFL, some NBA stuff. Buckets, you've got the floor right now, though.
Thank you, Sia. My flight leaves in about an hour and a half, and the airport is half an hour away. So a little bit poor management on my fault, but that's fine. That's not what we care about. What we care about is the second leg of the Champions League matchup between Paris Saint-Germain taking on Arsenal. And everybody and their mother is taking the exact same bet on this one. Both teams to score. However, that's currently priced at -175. And if I give out a -175 on the show, even if it hits, it doesn't really go well. So instead of just taking the BTTS, we're adding a first half goal. So both teams to score and over 0.5 goals in the first half gets you down to -110. Arsenal absolutely have to go for goals here, being down 1-0 and not scoring in their home leg, now putting them behind in aggregate. Meanwhile, PSG have one of the best counter-attacking teams in all of Europe with Bradley Barcola, Ousmane Dembele, Dio. They have so many good players here. So everyone is expecting goals, and I agree with that. But adding a first half goal gets our BTTS from -170 to -110. Much easier for everyone there.
All right, good news. You're -110 to catch your flight. But if you don't leave right now, it's going to turn to like +120.
Bye, friends. Thank you.
Yeah, see you later, Buckets. Thank you so much for joining the show, getting that pick out. We got Sniper, we got Amags, we got Propstars. Proppy, I have to start with you before we get to our baseball team here. I know you have an NBA pick, and we'll get to that later. You, again, we talked about it a few days ago. You jumped in the Discord right when the Pacers advanced after round one, and you thought it like it was a good idea for you to say, hey, I'm opening a big position on the Indiana Pacers plus 2.5 games. Propstars, I know that was a pretty big bet for you. I know a lot of people in SportsLine saw those words in our Discord and said, oh, this seems serious. You already cashed the bet, Proppy.
Indeed, yeah. I couldn't have asked for, obviously, a better start going up 2-0. The first game, I was in good shape. But, yeah, that comeback was unbelievable last night, highlighted by Tyrese Halliburton, who's just been absolutely sensational in these playoffs with an incredibly clutch step-back three-pointer. So riding very high at Propstars HQ. It was a big position. I know a lot of SportsLine members also were able to tail it as well. So I'm officially riding shotgun on Sniper's Pacers bandwagon here. So as a 76er fan, I'm very happy to have a team to root for, and I think I found it with Indiana.
Sniper, I presume you were able to watch that game live. Your reaction, it did look like Indiana was just going to give up that game. And for the record, I'm sure your reaction to that would have been, well, they got one. So they got one. Cavs are kind of banged up. But all of a sudden, they come back. Would just take me through the thought process over the last couple of minutes watching that.
It was over 2 hours of misery and being annoyed. And I think my thought process toward the end of the game was, if the Pacers lose this series, we're going to look back on the first quarter of game 2 and say that's where they lost it, because with the Cavs being down 3 of their best players, only scoring 14 points in the first quarter, that's terrible. That's unacceptable. But hey, at the end of the night, I was really, really happy. I'm not going to gloat or anything like that because we have CLE fan in the chat, and I've been there before, so I don't want to do any of that. I just want to say any of the yelling and screaming that you can imagine, yes, that happened.
Yeah, an incredible last sequence, and a shout out to the Golden State Warriors, because doing what they did with Steph and then without Steph was incredible. We'll see how long Steph is out. Obviously, doesn't look great for their prospects to win this series if he's going to miss some time, but we'll see. Amags, I finally hit my first 5 yesterday on the hat you're wearing, the Philadelphia Phillies. You had the strikeouts prop, which also hit in that game. Is your Phillies hat a preview? Don't give out the pick yet. Is it a preview of what you got today?
Yes, it is. A very similar angle I took yesterday with Zach Wheeler. Going to go same direction. If you're a SportsLine member, you already have the pick, so you don't even need me to tease it.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Amags, we'll get to that in a little bit. Sniper, how about you take us forward? Oh, it's interesting because you've got a run line pick for plus money. You love to do that, and you've been cashing that on. I know on the CBS Sports Network show we did together 2 days ago, which we have another one at 12 o'clock today, folks. You went 4-0 on those picks. So I don't think you were on the early edge that morning, unfortunately, but you've been hot, particularly with the plus money plays, because that 4-0, I think, included 3, if not all 4. 3, okay, 3 plus money plays. Your other play relates to Kyle Schwarber, and I got to give the SportsLine model a shout out because, and Mackenzie Brooks will be on this show tomorrow, by the way, because we had the home run props, and one of those 3 home run props was Kyle Schwarber. I think that presented our best value, and I know for a fact there's Jen M. She probably cashed in on that. A lot of people cashed in on that, and so we'll have home run props to show you later on in the show. But start us off, Matt Snyder, with a couple of picks.
Yeah, we're going to go right to the, like you said, the run line with plus money. It's big plus money here. Twins to win on the run line. It's plus 165 here. And I know that for years, one of the themes on this show has been Patrick Corbin Day loading up against the Nationals when he was starting, when Patrick Corbin was starting. Charlie Morton Day, if the Orioles are going to really throw him back in the rotation, is going to be a much bigger deal than that because he is completely cooked. The Orioles are 0-8 in his appearances so far this year. He has a 9.76 ERA. Twins scored a lot of runs last night. The Orioles actually overall look pretty broken right now. Everyone, offense, they can't get any runs home. Pitching wise, the bullpen, it's just everything. The Twins, meanwhile, have won 9 of 14. Carlos Correa has a little bit of swagger back. He went up for tank last night. Byron Buxton hit the ball really well last night. Royce Lewis is back in the lineup. He went over 4 last night, but he hit the ball hard a couple times. So I really love this spot for the Twins to get a multi-run win there. And again, the plus 165, you have to love that. And on the other one, I'm going to go back to the well. On the 6 o'clock show last night, I had Kyle Schwarber over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Going to do that again on plus 100 here. Really love this spot. We're kind of riding the hot hand a little bit. 5 home runs and 10 RBI in his last 7 games. Good lineup spot there in a very good Phillies lineup when they're on. And speaking of of riding the hot hand, the weather in Tampa, it's hot. You're outside now when you're playing the Rays on the road, and they're in George Steinbrenner Field with that short right field porch. Love Kyle Schwarber here. He's tied for the major league lead in home runs. Maybe if you wanted a home run pick, that might be a little too obvious to go with Schwarber, but hey, 5 in his last 7 games. If you want a not so obvious home run play, go back to the Twins because you could see a Byron Buxton play there. And also, like I said, Royce Lewis, we know he has plenty of home run power. He hit the ball twice yesterday. Maybe go with Royce Lewis there.
I'll tell you what, since you're bringing up home runs, Ben, if you don't mind, can you bring up the SportsLine home run model plays? I think this is probably a good time to do it. Okay, according to our SportsLine model, top MLB home run plays, Francisco Lindor looks like a ton of value there, plus 370 versus plus 500. George Springer, even more value, plus 400 versus plus 600. And Kyle Manzardo, plus 4. Okay, so that doesn't seem like great value necessarily there. But Kyle Manzardo is on this list. But it looks like Springer and Lindor looking pretty good there. Amags, do you have any thoughts on either of these two guys?
Yeah, so George Springer was brought up in the Discord earlier this morning as a potential hit run RBI play. Has been doing well. I think he's 5 for his last 13, couple of home runs. Last night, a home run against a lefty. So you get a lefty and Kikuchi again here. And I think what the mention this morning was that he had some previous success against Kikuchi as well. So I like that one plus 600. I would run that one.
I'd love to hear that the SportsLine Discord is active pre-show here. I guess it's always active. I know you're super active in there, Amags, so appreciate that as well. Sniper, anything sticking out to you here?
I like that Lindor. I mean, as you can see, we like the SportsLine model likes the value a lot more than the real odds, but I was looking, he'll be hitting lefty against Merrill Kelly in Arizona. That feels like a pretty good spot.
All right. Absolutely love to see that. Gentlemen, I mentioned I was going to do a Kyle Schwarber home run prop on yesterday's show with my Phillies first 5, and I was going to add a couple of things in. I actually had it in my queue, and I got distracted because I had the early wedge at 7. And so it's just one of those things. I intended to go back to it. I didn't, and it would have hit. And it was, I made it 50-1. And because I had Castellanos to get 1+. Like I added a couple of things in, including some runs. And so I missed out on it would have been like a $10 bet, but that's $500 I missed out on because I got distracted. Speaking of the early wedge, I do want to tell everybody right after this show on the SportsLine YouTube channel, me and Jason Sobel I don't think Mike's going to join us today. I think he's in the chat, but me and Jason Sobel definitely will be going over all of your questions for the Truist Championship and the Myrtle Beach Classic. So get in there. It's on this YouTube channel at 10:30. We'll be answering every question you've got. All right. BetMGM, we've got a promo to read. BetMGM account holders will receive an NBA playoff odds boost token. To use the odds boost token, make an NBA wager and activate the token. If that bet wins, you get extra winnings only at BetMGM. Well, you could use that odds boost token on this NBA pick courtesy of SportsLine, or you could use it on the pick you're about to hear from Propstarz. But we got the Boston Celtics team total over 110.5 at -110 from JLC. And then we've got an NHL playoff pick, the Dallas Stars money line -125. That one courtesy of Bruce Marshall. All right, we got to get to Propstarz plays. We got to get to my golf play for tomorrow morning. And Amags, of course, we got to get to your baseball plays and maybe some of your plays in the chat right after this message from our partners. All right, we're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Jen was asking about the network show. It looks like Ben is going to take care of talking about the schedule for the network show in the SportsLine Discord. And I'll try to address that maybe on the front end of the week so that you guys know when CBS Sports Network is going to be airing extended versions of this show, The Early Edge. All right, let's move Propstarz to... Well, you're in good spirits. I'm wearing the Pacers colors. We've got Snyper wearing the Pacers colors, but we're going to transition. I guess you could say my colors are also maybe Denver Nugget-ish. Talk to me about your prop today.
Indeed. Yeah, I am backing Christian Brown of the Denver Nuggets to go over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists versus Oklahoma City tonight. This is a good spot, plus a low number for Christian Brown. He's really been one of the unsung heroes for the Denver Nuggets, and he's really had to step up here. As we know, they're playing a 6-man rotation in the playoffs, and one of those players, in Michael Porter Jr., has been almost completely ineffective. So Christian Brown is going to need to play 40-plus minutes as long as this game is competitive. And we're getting a pretty hefty discount on the combination line. During the regular season, he averaged over 23 PRA. That number jumped over 25 post-All-Star break, where his minutes and usage both increased as well here. So love this spot, getting a discount for Christian Brown. A lot of attention obviously going to be placed on slowing down Nikola Jokic. Probably be doubled quite a bit. I think Christian Brown really benefits from Nikola Jokic being the GOAT offensive player and the best passer in the NBA here. So I like this spot for him to continue to stuff the stat sheet, chip in with plenty of points, assists, and rebounds, and go over this 19.5 number.
All right, interesting numbers here. I see Steve Folkert says, and I'm surprised this is his points line, but SGA over 33.5 points, -110. Is it really that high, Propstarz?
It is indeed that high, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that? That seems like an under to me.
Yeah, it's an efficient line. I do think the game will be a bit up-tempo. I'm not really comfortable fading SGA, only from the mere fact that Oklahoma City kind of got exposed a little bit, really not having a secondary scoring option. Jalen Williams had a bad offensive game, so a lot of that offensive load had to be shouldered by SGA. I think he's going to attempt maybe 25-plus shots in this game. So for me, it would be a stay away. I would slightly lean to the over. But yeah, he's going to have to score a lot tonight.
All right. Sniper, you're dropping some knowledge. We talked about Javy Baez on the network show. He's plus 700 or more to hit a home run tonight. Is that accurate?
I just glanced at one book and saw plus 700. My hunch is it might be higher other places. Look, he's in Coors Field right now. He's feeling really good. He's a hills and valleys guy, and it's been mostly valleys the last several years to the point that it's become almost a punchline for some people. Mm-hmm. But he's really hit the last few days, and he still has off the charts raw power. So in Coors Field, don't know what kind of pitching the Rockies are going to provide, especially in the bullpen there. I could see that if you wanted to gamble.
All right, fair enough. Propstarz, I do want to give you credit before I move on to my golf pick and then ultimately Amags 2 picks. Again, I hate to keep referencing the network show, but I'm just trying to give credit where it's due because we were on Monday, Propstarz, and you said you thought the Nuggets could steal that game. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, my eyes were like telling you like, oh, this is great. In my head, I was like, this guy's crazy. Nuggets are not stealing this game. They're probably not even covering. And the reason I bring that up isn't just to give you credit. this line is now 11. It was 9.5 before. And I understand why it's grown. Still seems like a lot of points, though, Propstarz.
It does seem like a lot of points. I mean, I keep referencing this we're fading Nikola Jokic, who's the best player in the world at the peak of his powers. In my opinion, I don't think this is a hot take. He's the GOAT offensive player in his peak right now, playing great basketball. You also have Aaron Gordon, who's played great basketball. You have Jamal Murray, who's a tremendous playoff performer. If we look at OKC, while they were a great regular season team, they obviously took care of business in the first round in impressive fashion, although against an inferior opponent, in my opinion. I don't think this should be this large of a spread here. So I do think they're going to come out guns blazing. We've seen them respond well off of losses here, but Nikola Jokic, too good to be spotted 11 points, in my opinion. And they're playing very good basketball. Aaron Gordon, again, been phenomenal. Jamal Murray. And we're seeing a little issues come alive with this OKC team really not having a bona fide second scoring option. Even though I do love Jalen Williams, I do think it might potentially be a problem for him. We saw it was a problem in the first game. So I like the Nuggets here.
All right. And it's 10.5 here at BetMGM, just so everybody knows. 11 in some other places. So if you like the Thunder, BetMGM might be the place to go. My bet actually is only over at DK for golf tomorrow morning, just so everybody knows. It's under 3-ball matchups, which I understand is a confusing term to people. What DK has is they have around 3 balls, but then they have next to that, they have 3-ball matchups, which basically gives you the ability to take a 3-ball and just reduce it to a 1 versus 1. Very easy to find, but I just wanted to get the terminology down for everybody. I'm looking for one of the first tee times out tomorrow morning. It's Rasmus Højgaard minus 130 over Joe Highsmith. This one's pretty easy for me. I do think distance is going to play here in a good way, and Rasmus Højgaard certainly has that. And he's been playing pretty well lately. He usually fades in the 3rd and 4th round. 1st and 2nd rounds usually pretty good, but overall, he's been pretty good over the last 3 tournaments. Joe Highsmith has missed 3 out of 4 cuts. The cut he made, I think he finished 72nd. His stats are not terrible, to his credit, but I just don't think he's the caliber of golfer that Rasmus is right now or in general. So I think minus 130, listen, it's a decent amount of juice here, but I think in a round 1 matchup, I expect Rasmus to beat Joe Highsmith pretty much in every round, including round 1. So give me Rasmus minus 130 over Joe Highsmith at the Truist Championship. Again, early wedge right after this show at 10:30. We're answering Truist questions, Myrtle Beach questions. I may even give out my first round leaders, which I didn't have finalized on the early wedge betting show yesterday, but I do have them finalized now for Myrtle Beach, just so everybody knows. All right, let's move. Amags, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. You got a couple of picks for us. One involves the Phillies, and one involves some synergy, I believe, if memory serves, with the Sniper.
Yes, it does, Sia. And really quick, I saw we were asking for home run picks. If you wanted it, because we asked, someone asked for Manzardo. He's not in the lineup there, but he was in the model. Maybe, Jose Ramirez or Schneemann. If you look at Schneemann, he had that huge 2 home run game against Toronto, another home run last night. He faces Mike Soroka, who, truthfully has not been good in MLB action, has been good at AAA. So I think that one could be pretty interesting. But my couple of picks here, the one that I have synergy with Sniper, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it is Charlie Morton Day, the human ATM machine, as I was calling him a couple weeks ago. It really is just what he's done this year. I mean, he's given up a ton of runs, and each start he hasn't given up less than 4. Then they tried to move him to a reliever, and he really only had 1 good appearance there. But the 1 good appearance, he still allowed 4 base runners in 2 innings. So I really don't think that was that great. He kind of just pitched around some trouble. So, you're getting a Twins team here now, and I was looking at the team total. They are going to be the home team, and it was at 4.5. You have to pay some juice. I start thinking about it, right? The only guaranteed at bat you're going to give up with a first 7 team total for the home team is the 8th inning. Before the game starts, that's the only 100% guaranteed thing that you're going to have 8 at bats there. And then secondly, that Orioles bullpen does have some strong arms in the back end. So if you're batting in the 9th, you're probably going to be facing one of those top arms. I think the 8th inning, you could face Cano as well, right? So this team total, we're going first 7 for the Twins here, over 3.5. You come down a full run from the full game, and it's a very similar price. I think that our bet here is made because of Charlie Morton anyways. If he lasts 7 innings, we probably don't win the bet, but you never know. If he has a great start, it is what it is. But I think that we should knock him out before those 7. If we get to the bullpen, that's great. But I think we get it done on Morton. So I'm taking the first 7 Twins over 3.5 on the team total. And then I posted this one up on the SportsLine website. It's what the hat's all about. Wheeler yesterday with 9 strikeouts in 7 innings, he was rolling. I think he had less than 25 pitches after 3 innings. I'll double check on that one, but it was just an incredibly low number of pitches to get through that first part of that game. And then when he really started to kind of turn up the pitch sequencing, he was mixing speeds. He has 5 different pitches he throws to lefties. I think similarly tonight with Christopher Sanchez, it looks like he's fine after the forearm injury. I'm going to take him over 5.5 strikeouts. And the strikeouts are, again, the angle I'm going to take here with a lineup that has actually towards the middle and bottom some rather unseasoned hitters. This season, Christopher Sanchez has been one of the best in terms of swinging strike rate at 14.5. The stuff plus actually has bumped up a little bit, which is impressive because he was really good last year with that number, but another bump up in the stuff plus over 115 now. His pitches all grade out near elite or at least in stud territory. So he's been really solid. The strikeouts, I like it here over 5.5. I think it's just a little bit too low. I think some of those alternate numbers up the ladder are also priced pretty good. So, the couple of bets there tonight. If you have anything else in the comments, I know there's a bunch of questions. We could get to that as well, but.
Let me ask you one, courtesy of your main man, Jeff Stenberg. He says, we love Cease over 15.5 outs at even money, right?
I was actually looking at, it's funny he says that. I was looking at that number today because it did feel low, right? But I'll pull Dylan Cease up here very quickly. If you look at recently, 4 innings, 4 1/3, 5 innings, 5 2/3, 4 innings, only 1 start this year. He's, gotten past that 6th inning. He did pitch in the 6th inning twice, but I really just don't love the form that we're seeing right now. And you got to pitch in Yankee Stadium against a tough lineup. I know Jeff loves to hate the Yankees, but that's one I will sit out on.
He's not at his peak, which right now it doesn't look like he has been this year. He throws so many pitches early in the game. It takes him forever to get through innings, and you could see him piling up against the Yankees something like 100 pitches in 4 innings. So I wouldn't really like that.
But isn't this like when we did the live stream? What was it? The last week's live stream, which was awesome, as everybody knows. Isn't this the type of like the Zach Gallen conversation when we were talking about that day, where it's like, well, he doesn't necessarily like warm up. Some of these great pitchers, it takes to May before you see it. I mean, is it? I don't know what his trends are the last couple of games, but are we maybe seeing Dylan Cease improve just enough to be like, okay, now he's in the shape to take him through the rest of the season as the Dylan Cease that we know and love?
Not yet.
Okay, fair enough.
It's one of those where it's like we talked about on that live feed on a few of the pitchers. It was like, let's see how he looks in the first inning, and then maybe you can jump on him live, something like that.
Okay. Let's see. Were there any other Sniper? We'll maybe handle a question more. Okay, Amags, you first, and then Sniper, and then we'll end up closing the show because I got to get to that 10:30 early web show, and then Propstars. I'll go to you. Amags, you first.
I was gonna say Proppy has one too. So a couple of things. Soroka under 4.5 strikeouts. Not going to bet against his strikeouts. He struck out 11 in his last start at AAA. I just won't run that one. Robbie Ray under 5.5. Been good with the strikeouts. The numbers actually don't look bad under the hood, so I'll stay away from betting against him. And then lastly, Christopher Sanchez over 17.5 outs. He does project to go over 7, or he's a favorite, I should say, to go over 17.5. I believe having projecting a little bit lower than that, but off the arm injury, my thought was I'm going to bet on the strikeout upside with a guy that I know has a bunch of upside and the numbers look great. I'd rather not bet that he has to finish 6 innings coming 1 start off of a potential injury scare. So I'll stay away from the outs. He could definitely do it, but I'll just take a shot on the strikeouts for him.
Sniper, you got anything?
Yeah, there was a question on Max Fried at home against the Padres, that same game as Cease, over 5.5 strikeouts. Yes, I like that. And then to get the win, I said in the chat, I didn't love that because the Yankees bullpen has been having issues, and I could see Fried handing over the ball with the lead and then them losing the lead. So I would rather do the strikeouts on that.
All right. Interesting. Propstars, do you have anything? And I do want to mention, though, I think there were questions about the Timberwolves. Is this right that Minnesota is now only minus 150 to win the series? But I don't know if that's what you had a reaction to. But I think that's an interesting number to consider. Go ahead, Propstars.
Certainly an interesting number, but I think Golden State has really good depth, and I think the series will still be competitive personally. But did want to touch on the George Pickens trade to Dallas very briefly. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I hate this trade because I think this makes Dallas significantly better. I think George Pickens is an excellent addition to the team. We've seen CeeDee Lamb, who is as good as almost any number one wide receiver, really have to do a lot. He has such a diverse route tree, but he really shines in the intermediate portions of the field. I think Pickens is a number 2 and primarily working as a deep threat will complement CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson spectacularly. I think the quarterback is a massive upgrade when we're talking about Dak Prescott. I think the Dallas offense got significantly better with the addition of George Pickens.
This was a much needed addition by Dallas, who was probably targeting like a Ted McMillan in the draft and wasn't able to get him. Now you get George Pickens. And let's be honest, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, that locker room and that sideline was not going to hold DK Metcalf and George Pickens. This is a great thing for Pittsburgh, in my opinion, as well. Actually, I didn't even really see their compensation back, but I just don't think those two on the same sideline was going to work, especially with their quarterback situation. More football to come as these shows get closer and closer to football season. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. I've got a golf matchup tomorrow. It's under 3-ball matchups. Rasmus Højgaard minus 130 over Joe Highsmith. Christian Brown over 19.5 PRA minus 115 from Propstarz. PSG versus Arsenal. Both teams to score plus over a half a goal in the first half, minus 110 from Buckets. We got Twins first 7 team total over 3.5 at minus 125. And Christopher Sanchez over 5.5 Ks at minus 137. Twins run line minus 1.5 plus 165 from the Sniper. And Kyle Schwarber over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at even money from the Sniper as well. We got the Boston Celtics. This is a SportsLine pick courtesy of JLC. Team total over 110.5 at minus 110. And the Dallas Stars money line minus 125 courtesy of Bruce Marshall. Oh, what a great show. We had a lot in this show. Maybe you can join us at 10:30. That's 3 minutes. Actually, it's less than 3 minutes on the Early Wedge on this SportsLine YouTube channel. At the very least, stop by, say hi, hit the like button. But thanks for being a part of this show every single morning. We're going to hit you tomorrow with another amazing cast. Again, on behalf of Sniper, on behalf of Amags, on behalf of Propstarz, and Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, this has been the Early Edge. We rest our case.